for your time always on Rok FM in Ghana. I hope you are doing very well.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Kweku. Good evening to all the listeners in Ghana.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell us, how is the English situation as we speak in respect of COVID-19?
Okay, so since we last spoke, there has been some changes. From Wednesday of last week, the government changed we have five levels. The fifth level is the highest level, so we were at level 5. And last Wednesday, the government decided to reduce it to level 4 based on the scientific evidence that the numbers of infections had dropped and consequently the number of people dying from coronavirus has slowly started to reduce as well. But unfortunately, as I speak, we have lost 32,500 people here in the UK due to the coronavirus. So the lockdown last Wednesday allowed more freedom to the people. So just a few examples. People were allowed to go out and exercise as much as they want. People were allowed to drive around in their cars to exercise. Some outdoor facilities were opened, including golf courses. People are allowed to play golf as long as they adhere to social distancing rules. People were allowed to visit open-air garden centres, again with social distancing rules. The other thing that the government has been pretty proactive on is they're doing up to 100,000 tests, COVID-19 tests every day, followed up by tracing. Talk of the kids going back to school on the 1st of June, starting with the younger ones first, because evidence suggests that the younger children are less likely to contact the COVID-19 than more older adult people. Also, the hospitals, number of people in hospital has reduced, suffering from COVID-19 in the intensive care unit beds from 11,000 last week down to 10,000. So our intensive care units are now operating at 40% capacity. So that means there's 60% capacity being unused in the intensive care beds and ventilators and things that go with it. So the situation here is improving.
Meaning in the coming days or weeks, we should be expecting normal life coming back to UK with strict protocols.
Well, that remains to be seen. As I say, we're at level 4. The next phase is to go down to level 3. But for that to happen, of course, the scientific numbers need to add up. So for it to go down to a 3, we would expect less number of infections, less number of people dying, and what we call the R number that needs to be less than 1. That's the rate of infection. We refer to it as the R number. Currently, it's 0.7. That means one person is currently, as it stands, is infecting less than one person, 0.7. So that R figure needs to reduce to say 0.5 or 0.4 before we go down to level 3, which will see a lot more things being relaxed.
So currently, as we speak, are pubs and bars being open, are churches being open yet, or there is a talk of opening churches alongside the schools?
No, churches, bars, restaurants, schools, universities, retail shops, most of them, all remain closed. Most people are online now, church service online, university studying online. So there's no There are no public gatherings, just like you've got in Ghana, no public gatherings. And social distancing remains. Although people have been given freedom, they're still being advised to stay home. And to be fair, most of the people here are fed up to the teeth of staying at home. They are adhering to the government guidelines in most cases. Of course, few people want to break the guidelines, but you get that in any society.
Oh, okay. Away from the England situation, this weekend the Bundesliga kick-started. People are waiting the start of the EPL. I don't know, the English media, the English learned something from the start of the Bundesliga. Now, tell us, how fast or how early are we expecting to see the EPL coming back?
So as you all know, the Bundesliga commenced last weekend. In fact, the Bundesliga had a record 6 million viewers on Sky Sports, and particularly trending in South Africa, Colombia and Ghana on Saturday. There was large numbers of people tuned in to watch the Bundesliga, which was the starting point for all European football. The model that they're trying to use will be looked at by the other European football associations. The model that the Bundesliga used was, of course, all players had to be tested at least a week before. They were then isolated in hotels before the game, and the number of games were played. In fact, there was a full league programme being played with Bayern Munich winning 2-0 and also Borussia Dortmund winning 4-0. So they're respectively first and second. But it was a strange atmosphere. No crowds. Players playing in an empty stadium. No atmosphere. When goals were scored, very muted. Only just the players' voices. And even social distancing was prevalent in the benches, where the dugouts with the coaches and the substitutes. They had to use the seating areas that normally the fans would take up, all social distancing. Celebrations when goals were scored, muted. Even things like the ball, the corner flags, even the pitch was all quarantined and disinfected before the game started. Rules on spitting, which is a common problem, when footballers play, they tend to spit, have even been clarified and made illegal. So although the games are played, lots of interest, no fans, no atmosphere, but the games are being played. So picking on your next question, the EPL, what's happening in England? Well, the good news is that the English Premier League now are starting to train in small groups from tomorrow, Tuesday. There'll be no contact training, and social distancing will apply within these small groups. But they are starting to train with effect from tomorrow. We originally hoped for a restart of the 12th of June. But we don't think this is going to happen now. The 12th of June will be a bit too early for England, English Premier League. So we're looking maybe at Operation Restart, as said, either 19th or the 26th of June, where we're expecting the EPL to kick off along similar guidelines to what you're seeing in Germany and the Bundesliga. Here in England, there's been strict medical protocols put together, big consultations with the Players' Union, Managers' Union, the Professional Footballers Association, and the EPL. All of the clubs have carried out coronavirus testing yesterday and today. And tomorrow we'll get the results. So by tomorrow we'll know if there are any English Premier League players and managers, coaching staff who are positive with coronavirus. So the other thing they're talking about is 14 days before the first game, whether it be the 19th or 26th of June, the players will have to be in a hotel self-isolating for 2 weeks before the first game is played. So, in principle, the policies are in place. So it's just a matter now of the government giving the go-ahead. And we're expecting some more news from government on the 1st of June. Once that is given, then we expect to start our first games on the 19th of June. So that's the plan. Whether it comes off, we don't know. But we're expected to follow the protocols, and the games, once they do start, there'll be 5 weekends of games. So every weekend, each team will play. And in between the 5 weekends, there'll be 4 midweek games as well. Within the space of 5 weeks, each team will complete 9 games. So 1 game at the weekend, and we're expecting the final games, the EPL, to finish round at the weekend of the 18th, 19th of July. So everything will be squashed into that 5-week period once we start.
Oh, okay. Keeping players in hotels for 2 weeks before the kickstart of the league looks very expensive. Who is bearing the cost? Is the government or the clubs are bearing that cost?
Well, the government has not set these rules. These are the rules set by the Players Association, the Football Managers Association, and the English Premier League. Now, whether this comes off, whether it's 2 weeks or a week, I think the Bundesliga isolated players for a week before the game. I think 2 weeks probably a little bit overkill, but the likelihood is that they will probably spend at least a week, maybe 2 weeks, in isolation, and they'll also be tested, regular tests on the players. You see, some of the players, the likes of Sergio Aguero and 1 or 2 others, have said they're frightened. They're frightened about playing because although social distancing rules will apply, the game of football, you can't have social distancing. How can a player be 2 meters apart when they're both trying to head a ball or get to the ball? So in reality, social distancing will only happen in and around the game. It won't happen on the pitch because, as you know as well as me, ball is a very physical game and players are on top of each other. They're breathing on each other for most of the time. So, this is going to be a big challenge. And this is why some of the players are frightened about catching the virus and even passing it on to their family members. So there is no 100% foolproof policy to protect anybody from this virus.
All right. So tell us, the other European situations. Now, English, you've set your date. The situation in Spain, for instance, and also that of Italy. And probably, will we ever see UEFA Champions League again this season?
Yeah, So the other European leagues, they're about to start again. La Liga has started group training this week, and again they're following similar protocols to what's happened in Germany. So La Liga is all set to start again in June, along similar guidelines to what we've seen in Germany. I suppose Germany, to a certain extent, are trailblazing. Again, in the Liga and the Italian leagues, all the players are going to be tested coronavirus before the game, and some of those policies they've started group training, but again social distancing, no contact with players. So it's a very, very, very similar model that's going on all around Europe, and Germany, to a certain extent, are the guinea pigs. They are the guinea pigs of this model, and everybody is following this model. With regards to UEFA and the situation with UEFA, UEFA, their plan is that all the European leagues should be completed in August, on or before August, and their plans are, there are issues. For example, the French league, the French government they've banned all football, so there'll be no further football in France. Whereas the other governments, particularly the Spanish and the Italian governments and the English governments, British governments, are quite happy for the leagues to continue. But what I'm hearing from UEFA is that the Champions League and Europa League are likely to be played in August, with quarter-finals and semi-finals played over 2 legs. Now, I'm not quite sure where these games are going to be played, what venues are going to be played, but that's the situation. UEFA are expecting the last 16 Champions League and Europa League games to be played no earlier than August, at the end of the European leagues. And the quarter-finals and semi-finals are going to be played over 2 legs. That creates issues for teams like Paris Saint-Germain, who have already been awarded the French La Liga league title, and are still strongly involved in the European Champions League. So what's going to happen with them? How are they going to maintain their level of fitnesses? But what UEFA has said, for those leagues that do cancel the remainder of the season, they have to play qualifiers prior to selection for European Champions League selection next season, 2021. So if you don't complete your league, the top 6 or the top 8 in that league, I'm not sure where it'll be, will have to play qualifiers to enable that so it won't happen automatically. Even though you've been appointed league winners, you're going to have to be involved in qualifiers.
Okay.
In terms of the European Championships, as we all know, the European Championships were due to start next month, 12th of June, for a month to the 12th of July. They have now been postponed until the 11th of June next year, 2021. So European Championships will be postponed for 1 year, commencing June 11, 21, and will finish July 11, 2021. So that's the latest news coming out of UEFA.
Oh, okay.
The UEFA camp. There is a meeting coming up very shortly with that.
Mm. Oh, okay. I don't know. Quickly, can you run us through few transfer rumors as we take leave of you?
Yeah, there are a few transfer rumors. Again, a lot going on with the coronavirus and the money and the monetary issues, and clubs losing a lot of money because they're not playing. They're not receiving gate receipts. So it's put a little bit of a problem on transfers. But what I'm hearing are Man United are very keen to sign Jack Grealish, Aston Villa midfielder, but Aston Villa want 80 million for him. 80 million pounds they want for Jack Grealish. Whether Manchester United are going to find that money, I don't know. Also, Leroy Sané, interesting. Bayern Munich, he's interested in Bayern Munich, so they're looking to sign Leroy Sané, the Manchester City striker. Juventus and Man United have also been linked to a move from the Wolves striker Jimenez. So they're talking about possibly signing him. Liverpool and Man City, the latest news coming out of there is that they're both interested in Leicester City centre-half, the Turkish player Saglar Soyuncu. If you remember, he was a replacement for Harry, the Manchester United centre half.
Yeah, Harry Maguire.
And he's come in doing a great job at Leicester, and it looks like they might lose him to either Man City or Liverpool. And also the latest one also is Erling Haaland, the current 21-year-old Borussia Dortmund star. Looks like Real Madrid are going to be favourites to sign him. So there's lots of other stuff going on around the European leagues, but that's the current status of play as it stands at the moment.
All right. Well, we're almost grateful to you for your time this evening, and we'll get in touch again probably next week to come and pick another update on the situation as the teams are due to resume training tomorrow. Thank you very much, Michael, and we are grateful.
It's a pleasure. Nice to talk to you, and everybody in Ghana, stay safe there. Very best wishes. Bye for now.
Thank you. Yes.